Well, welcome to the next edition of the Star Sports Greyhound Derby Zoom Room. Lofty is here with me once again, and we have a trainer who's been there and done it before, of course, with DeRosa's Wildcat. Kevin Hutton joins me, and so does Lee Fields, who at the opposite end of the spectrum is entering just his second ever Greyhound Derby and has progressed as far as he's ever been with Dennis Duke going into the third round at the weekend. So thank you all for joining me. Really nice to catch up with you. I guess most importantly, let's come to you first, Kevin. How are the dogs?
Very well, thanks, Julie. Yeah, we've been very lucky this time. We've got 3 left in it, and none of them got any issues at all. So, so far so good, and they'll be ready to go come Saturday night.
And same for you, Lee. How are your dogs? How's the Dell's Duke? Has he come out of it well?
Yeah, he's been great. Nick is probably in the best nick he's been since I've had him. He's jumping about the minute. Couldn't come at a better time really at the minute. So yeah, everything full steam ahead.
Well, let's go through how the dogs have sort of done so far and where they're at. So starting with you, Kevin, I'm going to talk about Sona Ace, first of all, who clocked 29.16 at the weekend, beating a cracking field as well, including Jaguar Macy, Ballymac Kingdom, Glengar Bale, and just seems to be really performing at the top of his game at the moment.
He does. He's really hit peak form, I think, at just the right time. Obviously won the Winter Derby for us back in Monmore early on in the year. But even then his coat didn't look right, and I still felt he had more to come. And he just seems to be coming perfectly well. So I thought his performance in the second round was foot perfect. The sectional, everything was there that we wanted to see. And thankfully he's come out of his race in great form. So we're hoping he can do the same again.
And all your dogs sort of have a connection in terms of their heritage. So this one is out of Forest Natalie, your super bitch, which makes it extra special.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we're very keen as a kennel actually to get more and more into the breeding. We're getting a select crop of brew bitches together, and Forest Natalie is the one who started it all. She's led on the floor just beside me actually. So to get a dog as good as Sona Ace from her first litter has been a dream for us really. We wanted to try and breed a champion, and thankfully Ace seems to be that dog. So hopefully onwards and upwards with the breeding.
Absolutely. You've also got Magical Silas, December 2018, who's out of Magical Bales. So again, that nice connection there for you. He sprung a bit of a surprise at the weekend.
He did, yeah. I mean, the race went his way, didn't it? To be honest, it was very messy up front. He dove across to the rail well, took his chance, showed good pace down the back. He's a fast enough little dog on his day, but he doesn't seem to get too many clear runs. He does find a bit of trouble as he goes. Hopefully that'll do his confidence a bit of good. He certainly deserved the rub of the green for a change. And again, the dog's in good form. He's come out of the race well. Tough heat, very tough heat. That tricky draw as well. Probably like last time, we're going to need a little bit of luck, but you never know.
Talking of dogs in form, Forest Gold, and not just in form at Toaster, but really was coming into Toaster as well at Swindon in terrific form. And again, out of the dog you love so much, DeRosa's Wildcat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, out of our very own Wildcat, he was one of the first bitches that we mated with Wildcat. So again, there's been 1 or 2 really nice dogs in this one. Forest Gold, he's full of confidence and he's ever so well. We gave him a couple of races at Swindon with the idea of hopefully getting a couple of confidence boosting wins. Thankfully, he cracked out and led all the way in both. And it seems to have done the trick. He's really come into the Derby full of confidence, full of himself. He's loving his racing. And I think he's run very well in both of his races so far. Again, tough draw. Obviously, there's no easy races in this stage of the Derby. But with Tempin and Ballymac World on his inside, he's going to have to be lively at the start. But again, I fancy him to run well, that dog. He's very well in himself.
Yeah, he really seems to have come of age of late, and he's going great guns for you. Lee, Adele's Duke, 29.66 at the weekend, and again, just a dog absolutely thriving on his racing and coming forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think the times really Chapman can help to do it, because I think the 6 and the 4 have come across his path out the traps. He was almost on his knees after a couple of strides, and he's had to pick himself back up and tear to the corner. So I think he's lost a little bit there. I think that child with the third bench section, although I saw online today, is probably about 20 or 30 spots off on 27 spots, I think, off on his previous third bench section also. He's got that pace to the corner, which gets him away, and obviously he's running the track well, and he's coming on all the time, and both runs so far, he's had some good dogs chasing him down that back straight. And like I say, he's sort of like, I wouldn't say kidded him, but just pulled out enough all the time just to keep himself going, just to keep that distance all the time, a couple of lengths all the time. And like I say, it's half the battle, I think, around there. If you're still in front of the third to fourth corner, you've got a massive chance, and that's what he's doing. And I'm hoping for pretty much the same in the next round.
I know that you're fiercely ambitious, Lee, and I think anybody who's watched my interviews with you will know that. So how did it feel for you when you're, up against the real big guns in the Derby second round, and you come out with a winner like that? You must have felt very proud.
Yeah, it's like the first thing I said, just taking scalps in the first round, like temping and that. And then I was talking to Steve on the phone on the way back, and I said, listen, there's the bigger picture for me is taking scalps like Graham Holland and people like that. That's like massive for me. And like, to even be in the same races and top people, let alone having the winners. So yeah, I was over the moon with that.
And Lofty, I think that's been something that's really stood out for this year's Derby is the people that we always expect to see they're doing so well, and then there's the people who, the up and coming trainers, and it means so much to them even in the early stages.
Very much so, yeah. I think I was saying to you the other day when I about, Lee's dogs and how well Adele's Duke's been running and been kept under the radar a bit, and I think I called Lee young up and coming, and as you say, seen his interview as a grandfather, but that's probably but you know what I mean, it's a name you don't normally sort of see. I mean, no, Adele's Duke, he's been nothing but impressed me so far. I think he didn't get the credit he deserved for his first round win, certainly, and in the second round, I mean, he certainly, as Lee said, he was on his nose earlier on. I watched the replays back today, and I think Lee's right about. I think he's a jealous dog. He sort of finds a bit more out in front as well. When I see him running in that in the Golden Sprint and the final at Perry Bar, it didn't look the strongest stayer to me, but now he's out in front and getting his own way around here, and he's bullying him. I think he's a dog really on the upgrade, and again I think he's a dog who'll go a long way. He's got a lovely draw. Even though he's in trap 6 out in his third round, last 48 heat, I think Form Duke Form Rebel World will go across a little bit, and there's not a massive amount of early pace in the race. You've got the machine, and that'll be slow moving off. The same with Sweep the Yard. So Bandicoot Sammy, I think, will get him towards the rail too. So I think he's got a lovely chance to qualify for the quarterfinals, and who knows what go beyond there. But no, it's good to see you saying we've got a few of the English trainers as well coming to the fore now. It was all Ireland before that, and although we've still got 2 Irish dogs head to the market, our joint favourite, there's quite a few dogs from the UK there. Bocco's Belly's moved in, obviously Highlight Arc has always been there. Well, the last heat I think was Bocco's Belly's in the heat 8, certainly the best heat of the night. But it's good to see a bit more competitive spirit as well. We thought we'd be being rolled over at the moment, have our bellies tickled by the Irish, and we'd be paws in the air and sort of giving up, but it's not been that way at all. We'll say that we haven't got Ian Fortune here to sort of wind us up now, but
yeah. We didn't invite him this week because we've had too much gloating, and frankly, he's probably in a bad mood right now. But what did you think of the draw then for Adele's Duke, Lee, heat 7?
Like I said to Steve earlier, the chances were we were going to get 5 or 6 being a middle, really. Well, say 5 or 6, maybe 4 or 5. There's only 2 dogs that will get 6, I think. But the dog has no luck with draws. He never has had. Ideally, I'd want him in 3. But that don't mean that he can't run from 6. Or I'd really like him in 3 because he'd have less dogs to clear on the inside. But like I said to Steve, if you gave me 3 and then put me in like an heat, sort of like the Kevin's dogs in, or some other heat with the big guns in it, or what I take 6 and be in the heat I'm in now, then absolutely I'd take this one. I think he'll just run straight, cut across, hopefully. And then, I think after a few strikes, if he comes out like he does and paces up, he could make his own path to the corner. But yeah, it ain't ideal, but I wouldn't swap it anyway. Even when the draw was coming out and the dogs were filling the draw, I had an eye on heat 7 all the way along, like thinking, if I could pick one, I'd take this one, so I ain't going to moan.
Kevin, what about for you? So in heat 1, you've got Sona Ace in trap 3 outside, New In Session, and Collier Lion, Warzone Tom on your outside. What do you make of that one?
It's a tough heat, isn't it? Obviously, Collier Lion's probably not quite at his brilliant best at the moment, but he's top class. Plenty of Cat 1 wins under his belt. New In Session, very, very highly rated Irish dog. Warzone Tom, we know very well. Load of early pace. I thought Frankie's Jet ran a terrific race last time out. So it's tough, but listen, I'm never one to worry too much about draws. Really, you've got to. All you can do is get your dog there as well as you can, and the rest will take care of itself. We can't change it. So I love him out of trap 3. He seems to be breaking ever so well from there. So that was all I was worried about, really. So there could have been tougher heats, there could have been easier heats, but no, we'll take what we've got, and looking forward to it.
I think Forest Gold is probably in a tougher heat in Heat 3 outside of Ballymac Wild and Tenpin, as you said. Also, Coney Wonderland, Kamiko and Unlock. That's a toughie, isn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult to see how he gets a clear run in there, to be honest. You know, and you've got one or two dogs that are going to be rattling home as well. Ballymac Wild's a brilliant dog. He's a proper competition dog, proven, tough as teak. You know, been there and done it. I'm a big fan of his. Tenpin, we know. Again, probably not his brilliant best, but hopefully he'll start to come forward as well for him. So no, it's a very, very good race. I'd have probably preferred him a little bit closer to rail in that type of race. But again, we've got what we've got, and you know, looking forward to it. He's a nice dog and he's running well, so he'd have a chance.
And again, I think you touched on Magical Silas. He's likely to be the outsider of the field in his race going from track 4. That's a real tough one.
That's very tough, yeah. But to be fair to the dog, I think he's done well to make the last 48. You know, we put him in there in the hope we could go a round or two, and that's exactly what he's done. So we can't be disappointed with him. You know, even if his Derby journey ends in the last 48, I think he's done pretty well. But tough to see how he gets a run in there. But, you know, like before, you never know. Things can happen up front and he might just sneak in behind. But, yeah, we'll see how he goes.
Lofty touched earlier on the sort of banter there's been between the English and the Irish, and you know the Irish were 1-5 when we did this Zoom room last week to win the Derby. We'll get an update on the prices from Lofty in just a second. But how do you feel about it, Lee? Do you feel like I personally, I've loved watching the Irish dogs. I still love watching them. I'm so glad they come over. You look forward to watching them, but I feel quite proud of how the English have done actually.
Yeah, but on the build up to this, even like watching the dogs. Some of these Irish dogs, some of the times and the runs that they're doing in Ireland are phenomenal. You know, like the Ballymac aerial bitch doing 27.90s and that around Shelburne Park, and you're watching them sort of in awe of them sort of thing on TV. And obviously, you know, going into it, looking at what they're bringing over, it did look a formality really. And I think deep down we all knew we was up against them really this year. But obviously, you know, you don't let on like that it's going to be a whitewash like everyone predicted it is, but. Well, I think now we're in a lot stronger position than where we was. I mean, some of the highlight article, you know, the dog like that when that's bombing out like it is, and being a hard dog to pick up, having the dog come out on that sectional, there's not going to be many dogs coming out on them type of sectionals. And the way the tracks are in at the minute, it's sort of like suiting them front running type of dogs. And I think like as good as the Irish dogs are, there's a lot of them that are probably a little bit like them type of dogs that are a bit stronger and will be turning second or third. And as like I say, at the minute, it's favouring the likes of the dog that I've got, Kevin Signey, them type of dogs.
Yeah, I mean, I'd certainly say Lofty, you know, given company accepted, these guys, 4 dogs between them, probably went under the radar a little bit going into the Derby. And there was a lot of talk about the Irish dogs, but the tables have turned a little.
Certainly, and exactly as Lee's just said there, you know, the front running types, a lot of these Irish dogs are used to the sort of 550s, 575s, even the 600s at Shelbourne, you know, so you're looking at almost like would be a 6-bench at Romford, the 600 at Shelbourne, and you know, they found out the beach avenues of this world that are just, you know, staying out wide and strong. Unlock's been a different kettle of fish admittedly, but you know, let's say a lot of them do want to trip, and they'll be coming on quite strongly, and they've been a little bit in and out. I mean, Dearjet Sydney, you know, got his draw and did it right last time. He's got track 1 this time now. You'd have said ideally track 1 was his perfect track, but having seen Toaster at the moment, you know, track 1, a lot of people are taking on the track 1 run. It doesn't seem to be the ideal place to be. So having track 1 again in his, you know, in his last 48 heat might not be ideal for him. Of the rest, you know, Native Maestro looked the perfect article the first time out of the front ones, but got beaten last time. There was no excuses to make for him really. You know, knocked the ball Sid. Pat seeded him, you know, middle now. I think it's open to sort of get trap 3 out of him, so he might trap better from out there. But he's not shown really what he's been at, you know, as at the start of the anti-post favourite it was at the start. And you know, the Ballymac aerial bitch, she's been disappointing. I mean, you look at the time she was doing, and her first trial there as well. Everyone thought, whoa, wait on a minute, you know, she's done whatever, sort of what 28 was it 29, 10 on her first look round her, and everyone was sitting up and thinking, hello, she's back to her best. And she wasn't like that in a Kirby, but she's been disappointing, I think, Ariel. You know what she's capable of, but at the moment, I'll be looking to take her on. So yeah, we suddenly got a little bit of a whiff about the you know, the English maybe sort of keeping it on home soil.
Have you changed the prices?
We have a little bit, yeah. We're 2-5 still Ireland, just because of the liabilities, and they've still got the numbers ahead of the market. 2-1 the GB squads now. That might look a fair price actually. I think it might lay a bit more of that. So if we can, we'll be quite happy. We might have a decent book actually on it first or last. So I might even keep my job a little bit longer.
I think, Kevin, you'd be back in English, wouldn't you, surely, at those prices?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, look, we all knew how strong the Irish team were going to be, and they looked well odds on, didn't they? But I think we've more than held our own. I think we've done a lot better than a lot of people suggested we would. And I'd say we've got a cracking set of dogs left in it as well. Obviously, Patrick's very, very strong with his team of dogs as well. So no, I don't think it's all is not lost anyway.
Dare you dream about winning another Toaster Derby?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had no pressure on us coming into this derby. You know, when you've got the anti-post favourite all through the winter and everything, and everyone's looking at a Wildcat or a Bale, you know, you have a lot of expectations and a lot of pressure. You know, but we didn't have that at all with our team of dogs this year. Sona Ace has been kind of a bonus, really. The way he's run Toaster since the boxes have changed has really turned him inside out. He looked very average, I thought, in the blue ribbon there before, but as soon as we brought him back, once the boxes were changed, he looked a completely different animal. So yeah, we're always dreaming of winning a derby again. Would be fantastic. And listen, I think Ace, if things went right, he's probably good enough to win a derby, but there's an awful long way to go. We're only at the third round stage yet, so we won't get too carried away. But yeah, this is dreaming that keeps you going in this game. How
far ahead do you let yourself think, Lee?
Oh, well, don't really. Like, for me, just getting through the first round, it'd have been unbelievable. Like, to have two winners in the first two rounds from the same, well, three winners really, but two winners from the same dog in the first two rounds. And then even going into the third round now with the dog one paper, he's probably got as good a chance as the other five dogs qualifying. Obviously, we never thought we'd get to that stage, really. So we're just taking it round by round and enjoying it. And like I say, it'd be an achievement for us to be having a runner on Derby final, like, regardless of the race. That was, like, from the start, that's what we set out for anyway. And, like, that's what I planned out with the bitches and the pups and everything else. So anything else would be an absolute bonus. But if we got a runner on that Derby final night and all the kennels there and we're having a drink and that'd be it for me. That'd be great.
Well, I certainly think you've deserved at least that, but hopefully Adele's Duke can take you a little bit further. And yeah, on the breeding front, Kev, I think you and I are similar age to Lee Field. We've got a bit of catching up to do. He's a granddad.
Yeah, miles off, but I'm catching Lee there.
But anyway, listen, guys, congratulations for your achievements so far. Thank you for joining us for this Zoom, and I look forward to seeing you at Toaster at the weekend. Thanks as well, Lofty. Thank you.